I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Maddie Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, so welcome in, everyone. We've got season 7, episode 4, Ron and Leslie, and arguably one of the best episodes / emotionally depth-giving episodes, I think, of the whole season.
Yeah, and for some reason, this episode lives so much further into the season in my brain for me. Mm-hmm. And so I actually was really excited that it was episode 4, because I'm like, okay, good, we're going to get this resolution and move forward and have the Ron and Leslie team together for the rest of the complications that come up throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, totally. So this was written by Mike Schur, which is amazing and totally makes sense because he just knows these characters inside and out and can really give us that, depth that we were talking about. But this was also directed by Beth McCarthy Miller, who we know and love from SNL. I'm pretty positive him and Mike Schur and her worked together on SNL. She also directed a lot of 30 Rock, also SNL crossovers, a few Modern Families, which we love, and of course Parks and Rec, which she's directed quite a few of. I always want to bring up also the Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins, which is a new show on Peacock / NBC, and it has Daniel Radcliffe and Tracy Morgan, and she directed a couple of those, a lot of them actually, and that show also has other amazing casts. I don't want to just pinpoint Daniel Radcliffe and Tracy Morgan, but I highly recommend watching it because it is so funny. It's also mockumentary style, and I think it's I feel like Tina Fey's involved somehow, but it's like that comedy realm of this mockumentary style. But it's a great show. So this director also directed that. So highly recommend. But yeah, we have a great writer and director team.
Of course. How could you not, for such an important piece of the storyline?
Yeah. And I mean, each writer-director, no matter the story, I feel for this season in particular has been on point. Mm-hmm. So it does not disappoint. Yeah. Nope. Okay, well, I have summary written whenever you're ready.
Okay, literally, I know I say this sometimes short and sweet, but this is literally, I wanted to just dive into the episode. So I have my summary. Ron and Leslie are forced to resolve their conflict.
I mean, that's it.
That's the vibe of the whole episode.
Yeah, totally. So some fun facts here before we get into it. The internet told me that this is the only episode of Parks and Rec where nobody talks to the camera crew and has talking heads. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't
catch that either.
Yeah, because we were just so in it. But yeah, nobody talks to the camera crew as if it's a mockumentary. They're just following them.
What a great choice for this though, because I think that sometimes the talking head is purposeful, but it does keep you out of the scene sometimes because you're coming out of the scene with the character. Mm-hmm. And they wanted us to be fully in this with them, and you are. And I didn't realize that they had used that to help with that feeling. That's crazy.
Yeah, totally. And they don't get to say their true feelings in the talking head. You know what I mean? They don't get to explain it to us. True feelings is probably not the right way to say it, but they don't get to explain what they're feeling in their head or what they actually think. You just see it all in facial expressions, and it really helps the tension build, which is so beautiful, I think. So yeah, really interesting. I love that.
Yeah, and I think it actually, it forces those feelings to come out in the room. Mm-hmm. And it forces them to put their internal thoughts out on paper, exactly. No matter how long it might take.
Yeah, because the camera crew can't be a buffer. They have to just talk to each other. And it's really intense sometimes, which I think is also funny because the internet did bring that up too, where it was apparently Leslie and Ron are locked in there and the doc crew doesn't care at all. They're just in there with them. And I was like, I didn't even think of that. I don't think who cares? That's literally just the show.
Yeah, because they don't even think to ask the camera people to let them out or
right.
get somebody else in the crew to come get them. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Or maybe in my head, honestly, kind of the canon of the show, I made up a story that like they tricked the documentary crew too. Like they told them to just go follow them in there, and because they were stuck, like none of the shots are from outside of the room. Like when Ben and everybody is locking them in there, nobody's in the none of the cameras are in the hallway with them. They're all with
That's
Ron
so
and Leslie.
true.
So I feel like they just got stuck in there too.
Yeah. I like that.
They had no access to get out either. So
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I just wanted to bring up again, just a fun fact, not that the internet told me, but that I really noticed because I spend a lot of time reaching out to co-stars and guest stars, and there really was no one to reach out to in this episode, and it was so bizarre. There is that janitor, which I am so upset because I couldn't find his information anywhere. I don't know if he was a crew member, but he is not listed on IMDb. He's not listed on Reddit. I could not find him. So if you are that janitor, because I would be curious, I went back and I couldn't quite tell. Because this janitor, and we'll get into a little bit, is the same one who cleans up during little Sebastian's memorial, and it's like awkward, and he's still singing the Shania Twain song or listening to the Shania Twain song. But I don't know if it's the same janitor or what, but I could not find him. So maybe I just missed it and completely went over my head. But if anyone knows him, or if you are him, please let me know, because I'd love to talk to you. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's no other person in here. They are really focusing on Ron and Leslie, and I think they achieved something really special with that. It makes the episode also on Good Hang with Amy Poehler, where she interviews Nick Offerman. It makes it so much more special for me too, because we hadn't analyze this before I listened to that episode, and it just really reminds me how special the relationship is between Ron and Leslie, and Nick and Amy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we left off last episode with a to be continued, and we are getting this title card saying to be continued ... right now.
But I love that, because it's a callback to what you taught us when we were doing episode 1 of this season, is that they were airing these back to back. So I'm so happy, like, now that I know that and I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, cool. We didn't have to wait a whole nother week to see what was going to happen here.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Yeah. So Ron's freaking out because they've taken the phones, they've taken their key cards, they told security not to disturb them under any circumstance. And Leslie tries to convince Ben to let them out because it's the Game of Thrones series finale. And I will say, I'm going to be so honest, when I first watched this, I think I just let it slide about the Khaleesi and Jack Sparrow thing, not really knowing that this was a prediction for them, because also that's another thing I was going to bring up, that I kind of thought the only prediction before I analyzed this show on the podcast, like I kind of, just as a watcher, I only ever think of the Cubs winning as the prediction.
Oh yeah.
But they sprinkle in so many predictions, I should say, that, don't come true, like the whole Elton John with Chick-fil-A and that kind of thing, and this Jack Sparrow and Khaleesi thing, and there's just a lot going, and the Jason Bourne and being played by Kevin James, like there's just all these random predictions that I think they must have had so much fun with, and I'm so glad that I'm finally seeing that, because I just never really even paid attention to, like, or maybe I did at the time, but now it's even more special to me to be noticing these random ass things that they maybe put in the future. So funny.
Yeah, it's very fun to find the ones that are like, okay, that was such a reach, but they wanted to make it. So
yeah, and I love Ben's little way to convince her of, like, it makes sense if you read the books, and I think that's just a really funny bit, because every book reader will say that about the movies, because it's true most of the time, I feel, and so I just thought that was funny, because especially with Game of Thrones, I feel there's a lot of stuff, like random things that happen, and everyone who read the books was like, oh, that makes sense because you read the books. But so they're just kind of using that for the Khaleesi Jack Sparrow thing, which doesn't make sense at all. But it is funny that half of the prediction came true, because she says that show really went off the rails. And boy, did it. I agree with that statement.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that thing got a mind of its own there.
Yeah, they forgot about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so yeah, I think that's a fun thing to notice about the predictions. I also love that there's a baby monitor on the table, and Ben says if they figure their shit out, he'll come get them from his office. But that made me question, like, was he going to stay in the office the whole night?
That's my question. Who has the triplets? Was
That's
my question.
weird.
What's going on? Why wouldn't you just go home? Keep April and Andy here. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Or
Yeah.
like have
Or
security
do you have
call
to be here?
them or something. Yeah. I don't know.
You don't have to be at the office.
Also, like,
That was interesting.
yeah, this part is a little bit of a break in the plot for me because in my head, I feel like they shouldn't believe them regardless if they called them on the monitor. Like, they should force them literally to be in there for 10 to 12 hours or whatever. What I think it's 10 hours total, and not say, like, if you figure your shit out, you can come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that was like a propeller to them to like get their shit together faster kind of vibe, but I don't know if that works.
But I feel like if you know Leslie and Ron, like these people do, it's like they're both stubborn. They both think they're right. Like, it's not going to be just like a 2-hour situation where they're going to call you. Just like Leslie was like, okay, let's just call them in like 3 minutes and tell them we figured it out. Like, nobody's
Right.
going to believe that who actually knows you.
Exactly. Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that part was weird to me because I'm like,
Yeah.
And there were some things on the internet too, like reviews and stuff, where people were saying like they don't talk about the triplets enough in this season. And I get it, but at the same time, I don't. This part, I guess, in particular, like I could see why people would complain about this because it is like, okay, who's watching them? But the rest of the season, I don't really mind it at all that they don't really have the triplets because it's like they are a big part of it and they talk about them every now and again, but it's not like I know that. And also note, having analyzed it, we talked about this, I think, a couple seasons ago when she got pregnant, that they didn't. Leslie in particular, well, I should say Amy in particular, and the producers did not want the show to really be about her being pregnant / her having the babies. Like they wanted to keep her career and her life going as well. So that was a whole thing. But I could see why people would be like questioning this episode. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why is Ben staying there?
Well, and I think as a working mom, it is really cool to see that, like, okay, they do mention the triplets, but she has her life still, right? Like she's still the park lady, and she's still, she's not identified by being Ben's wife or being a mom. Like she has this identity outside of that, which is, I think, something that in our society we are starting to kind of accept, but it's been really hard for a long time. But I think logistically, as a parent, you're watching this and you're like, I'm so glad that you have your own thing and you can take the time to figure this out. But also, who's watching your children? kind of thing.
And also, I feel like it's on Ben. It's not on
No,
Leslie.
100%. No, it's yeah. 100%.
Like, mom is not her only title. And Ben, you created this scenario, so you probably
you have now
figured something out.
accepted that you're being the parent at home today.
Yeah. Right. So we'll just, accept that happened. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Ron threatens Ben, which almost works because Ben is scared. Ron's like, I'm going to like beat you up essentially, which, and I'm so glad they wrote this really well because they really make the audience feel exactly what Donna is feeling when she steps in and says like, no, shut the fuck up. Be a man. Get your house in order. You too. Nope. Like, get it together. Yeah. And I felt the same exact way. So I'm glad that Donna spoke for all of us.
Yeah. I love that she stepped in like that with her Donna passion, and it was so great. So that for me was one of my favorite moments. And I like that she singled them both out. Like, no, Ron, you're being aggressive to Ben. Like, I'm going to shut you up. But also that doesn't discount your part in this, Leslie.
Yeah. And I think Donna's been the only one that can really talk to Ron that way in a lot of times. So, I mean, apart from Leslie, but it's just like a different energy, you know?
It is, yeah.
And then Terry's almost convinced to let them out. Oh my God, Terry, stop it now.
I can't.
I love that Ron calls him son, though, when I feel like they're probably around the same age. Like, think about what you're doing, son.
Yeah.
Terry. But I'm glad that April breaks in at the last second and pulls Terry away. Very glad about that. And I talked about this last episode a little bit, but a part of me, I was like, Terry, I swear to God, if you let them out, because they because Terry, I mean, I know that they had their own issues, but if Terry hadn't like said and spoiled the beans about what each other was doing, like telling Ron what Leslie was doing, Ron wouldn't have gone as far as he did and vice versa.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, Terry, you're not to blame and I'm proud of you, but shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, you did
Anyway.
not create this problem, but you're not helping.
Right. That's exactly what I meant to say. Okay, so the title card next is it's 10:04 a.m. and they're trying to figure out a way to get out. And wow, we really learn about the upgrade to the security that they've installed, the magnetic locks, the security wire in the windows that will slice your arm open because Ron wants to punch through it. Like, kind of wild.
I wondered if Pacitus had come back and they were like, like Craig was like, this is not happening. And we're
Yeah.
going full security.
Yeah, totally. Yes. And I can see how City Hall, like with the tech upgrades that happened, I
Mhm.
guess within the 2 to 3 years or whatever, I'm kind of surprised they didn't have some sort of like keypad entry thing anyway. But no,
Mhm.
that makes sense. That makes sense that they would at least add the key card thing. But the wire, I was like, what? Are we in like the
Yeah.
FBI? But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Leslie says back to what you were saying that they'll wait a few minutes and just lie and say they made up, but that won't even work because they can't agree on how to lie. And Leslie makes a good point in her rant, I should say, like, I don't know. I don't believe that they would have had a friendship either if it wasn't for her.
Oh, we've had that conversation before. Like that there are just certain characters, Ron being one of the biggest, that like he wasn't going to go seek out relationships with all of these people. Leslie's a
Mhm.
huge reason he has relationships with anybody in
Yeah.
this Parks gang because she forced the proximity of people and wanted them to feel like a family. And yeah, so I give huge kudos to her and she's right. Like she's the reason they stayed friends for so long.
Yeah, totally. And why probably, I mean, I have a little bit more of an analysis on this, but I feel like it's just going to be the whole episode because that's what this episode
Yeah.
is. But I feel like the reason why that's why they didn't stay friends either, because Ron could not step up and like say what he was feeling or like just be honest or whatever. And because Leslie was no longer putting in that effort, it fell apart to me. You know, and
Yeah.
I know that they both had issues on both sides, and Leslie is not faultless. But that happens a lot in relationships sometimes where there's one person putting in more effort, and then when they stop that effort, it just kind of dissolves, you know?
Yeah, it's like that analogy of marriage, right? Like it's never fully 50-50. You have to like sometimes somebody's going to only be able to give you 10%. If you're going to make the relationship keep going, the other person's going to give 90 and it ebbs and flows. It doesn't always stay that one person is only giving 10%, but it hit a point where Leslie could only give 10% because of how busy she was and she had triplets at home and she has a husband and he didn't have the push to give the 90 to keep it going.
Yeah. Especially with how much he was hurt and felt like,
Yeah.
you know, bad about things. So.
But I also have thoughts and feelings about that he could have tried again, though, too.
Yeah, I know. Well, so this is when she destroys the baby monitor in her rage. So now they're really not getting out because she cannot get past the lie that they would tell him then, or Ben, I guess, about Ron being a perfect gentleman and I'll just lie and be sarcastic and I was the one. And then, and then Ron agrees with that. He would have agreed with that. And then she smashed it, the monitor. And he's like, what if we have an emergency? And like, I don't know. I don't think you'll have an emergency in the Parks.
I think it'll be fine.
Building right now or office, I should say. So it's 10:36 now p.m. and Leslie is noticing the differences in the office. The furniture, the pictures. Ron is whittling, which I think is hilarious that that's his go-to. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I loved this comment that like everything had changed, but I think when you look around, it's really cool because it does seem like Craig has kind of changed things around. There's different furniture, different paintings, but it's still very clearly on a government budget.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like they didn't go above and beyond and do all this fancy stuff. It's like still like stuff you could have gotten at
Municipal.
TJ Maxx on the wall and
Yeah.
very simple.
Bureaucratic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. And so Leslie is like, look, we have 10 hours. We can either talk about it or just sit in silence. She wants to be a grown up and talk about it. And Ron, at this point, I'm sorry, is being just like a big fat baby. He's
Yeah.
just like, no, I don't want to talk about it. I'd rather sit in silence and just like stew in my stubbornness. And I don't know. I just feel like this is where Leslie is showing up a little bit more, you know?
She is. And I'm a little surprised by Ron here, just because this is very season 1 through 3 or 4 Ron. When he meets Diane, he really starts to push himself to be vulnerable and have those hard conversations when he has emotions. And you have to be able to do that if you're going to be in a marriage, right? So it looks like he's stepped up in his marriage, but what's holding him back from being able to have the hard conversation here with Leslie? Because, like, this is an important relationship, and you're right, we don't see him really trying. She kind of really has to force him into it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I mean, there are moments where I can definitely empathize with how much he felt hurt and betrayed and all these things that were really hard to get over. So like I don't expect him at this point in the episode to just give in. Like I thought he was being a baby, sure, but I also understood like, okay, well, we're just into the evening. She broke the monitor, so let's just give it a little bit more time. But then as it goes on, it's like, okay, are we doing this, or you're really just gonna sit here in silence and just be stubborn? And I felt like that was just, and because that's comfortable to him, because I mean, this is very psychological, because this is an emotionally deep episode, but I feel like we always do that thing, and I think about it a lot, where we'd rather stay in the safe hell than like the unsafe heaven, or not heaven, but unsafe, like, you know, healthy thing. And it's comfortable to him to stay stubborn. So he's just like, I'll just stay here, please. Thank you. instead of trying and going outside of the comfort zone.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're just going to therapize this entire episode. That's what it's going to be. I think I put myself in Leslie's shoes, and I get a little sad, because it's like, I get where you, like, totally agree with you, right? Like, he's not going to hop in within the first hour and just start spilling his feelings everywhere, regardless of how much he's grown. But as Leslie, you hit a point where you're like, our friendship isn't worth the hard conversation. Like,
Right.
I have to scream sing at you.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. That's so true. Yeah, good call. Ugh. So then we've got Leslie saying that she bets that she can make Ron talk, and we get this montage of all these things that she's trying to do to get him to talk: hitting him, blowing a fan on him, dripping water, insulting wood. I love the covering him in Post-its. That was my favorite one.
Yeah, oh, I know. I love that. And the way they shoot it and bring it to you as the audience is so funny too.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
It's a great thing. It's a very similar here to there's a episode and a scene in Brooklyn Nine-Nine where Jake is trying to annoy a confession out of somebody. Have you seen that?
Oh, no, I haven't.
And he's like, the last one is he has his guitar out and he's just yelling in the person's face. And it's obviously not the exact same copy, but it's the same idea.
Similar.
And so it's cool to see that they're kind of recycling, but in a unique way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so true.
So,
there's a couple of other deleted scenes, or like alts or whatever, extended scenes, if you will, of Leslie trying to get Ron to talk, and it's only like 30 seconds, so I was like, let me just go ahead and play it, because Leslie does like impressions and voices, and it's just really funny.
Talk to me, come on, Ron. Talk to me. Hey, you talking to me? You will talk to me, Nine. You talking to me? Serbian. You don't know a Serbian accent? Come on, Ron. Talk to me. Wee! You talking to me? You talking to me? Hey, my name is Ron Swanson, and, I'm sorry. Oh, that's nice, Ron. I'm very stubborn, and I'm a real butthead. Oh, Ron, that's not nice to say about yourself, but it's true. Pawnee water torture.
Pawnee water torture.
Yes, that's what she calls the drip, drip, drip from the straw. But
So
that
funny.
point where she was like imitating Ron, she was like, you know, using her fingers and like pinching the side of his mouth to, you know, like a puppet talking or whatever. And I was like, oh my
I can't
God,
believe
that's so
that
funny.
didn't get him.
I know. And also it's just fun to see Leslie and or Amy and Nick together. I think about this episode similarly to when they work together getting Jam out of Tammy's clutches, like the whole,
Mm-hmm.
when she was impersonating Tammy, and they just had montages of them, like of things that would make you laugh if this was real life. I feel they just have such a good chemistry together. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. And just how fun that would have been for Leslie, because I don't know how, or for Amy, because I don't know how much of that was like improvised. I'm sure it was like written to have alternates and stuff, but how easy it probably was for Amy to improvise and just go crazy with him,
And do some fun runs. Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
for sure. So cool. Yeah. It came up on my feed the other day, her imitation of Christopher Walken on SNL.
Oh,
And yeah, and so hearing her do Robert De Niro and
yeah,
like, all that, it's just like she's so good at that.
yeah.
Like, and
It's
you
so
brought up
funny.
Tammy. It was like a copy and paste of Megan Mullally almost.
Oh my God, so funny.
So cool that she got to do it here.
Yes. So at 10:55 p.m., we've got her putting on the mixtape she made for a summer barbecue 2007, and she's going to play We Didn't Start the Fire on repeat, which is hilarious that Jerry chose that song. And because I'm
Yep.
not like mad about that song, I feel. And I would have expected Jerry to pick a song that I was not into.
Yeah.
Which, side note, okay, so this was like in one of the trivia things that I always find on IMDb, where it was like he picked this and he didn't pick it because of this, but they were saying that Billy Joel was married to Chrissy Brinkley, and I was like, why did you put that on this? Like IMDb, that doesn't make sense. Like, who cares? Not who cares, but like, what does that have to do with this? But I did not realize that Chrissy Brinkley and Billy Joel dated and were married, and they were like a huge power couple in the 80s. And I'm sorry for the people that were born in the 80s or maybe just remember that, because I did not. They divorced in 94, but they were like a huge power couple. So that's like the 6 degrees of separation, where Terry Jerry Larry is married to Gail, aka Chrissy Brinkley, who is married in real life to Billy Joel, and now we're getting Billy Joel's song We Didn't Start the Fire. So I was like, oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Well, and I'm assuming somebody on the cast likes the original documentary style crew likes this song, because they use it in The Office as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Ryan.
For Ryan started the fire. Yeah. So
yeah, totally.
Not that it would have to be somebody liking the song, but I wonder if that's a driver too.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it is funny, like you said, with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I kind of had in my notes that I like seeing what they used in both shows. You know what I mean? And how they use it in different ways, though. You know what I mean? It's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's not an exact copy and paste. It's not lazy. It's this was hilarious. How do we put this here and use it again in a unique way? Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, We Didn't Start the Fire as like fun and songwriting greatness as it is, it's annoying as hell if you don't know the words, which nobody really does. I mean, I'm sure there's like people like super fans out there who know all the words, okay, but like the common average person might not know all of the words, and like just the repeat, there's a lot of them yeah, and just the like constant repeat. So like this is a good choice of a song to annoy the hell out of someone, especially in the way that Leslie does it. And I was kind of wondering if Amy improvised these lyrics, because like I can't imagine just memorizing these lyrics. I mean, sure, she absolutely could have, but that would be a question for Mike Schur or her if I ever get a chance to meet her, because I was just like thought it was so funny, because it's just random shit. Like she says pee pee poopy daddy ate a squirrel.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that, and
I hope she
like,
got to improvise.
I know, I hope so too. But the idea, like, I'm gonna maintain eye contact, and guess what? I don't know the words, and just getting in there. Yeah, it's so funny. It was so good.
Yeah, so good. Love it.
So then we've got 11:01 p.m. So really only like 6 minutes in between the last one. And she says, once again, it is up to her to save their friendship, which we talked about is true, even though I know she was like forced into doing this, because she wasn't going to do this willingly, but or at least being locked in the room with him. But now that she's here, that is one thing I do like about Leslie. Like, it's hard, and I'm going to just try to do it if I'm forced to do it. You know what I mean? Even though I know that she, like I said, I fully understand that she wouldn't have done this had she not been made to go in there. But anyhow, she says, I will use the most powerful tool known to man, a well-organized chart. Love this. And she made a
Yes.
timeline of their relationship, which honestly, great idea. I think it's a really good idea
agree.
to just try to see. I mean, especially with me being like, and I think you can relate, like, or organizing it and kind of seeing like where the pieces fell apart. I think it's interesting. And depending on how far you've gotten along in the, relationship, maybe it doesn't matter at that point. But I think now that we're here and we're trying to analyze it and she's trying to figure out where it fell apart, I think that's a great idea to have a timeline of their relationship.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's great for the people working through the problem, but also it was a great way to fill the audience in on everything we've missed in the middle in a really
100%.
clear way.
Yes. Yeah. Great, like, writing tool here. Wonderful.
Mhm. Absolutely. I did question a little bit. I was like, Leslie, you have 3 minutes. Like, you should have talked about the timeline not within the 3 minutes, because I feel like we should want Ron to be talking in the middle of 3
yeah.
minutes. But still, because it all works out in the end how they
Right.
time it and everything. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we learned that there was a zombie biker gang pizza jamboree, which honestly is a fantastic theme. I really actually love that. Good job, April.
yeah, yeah, great, and very April.
Yes, very April. This was her going away party because Leslie left. Then she took Terry. Then she took April, and April had a going away party, which this was the theme for. And then we get a flashback of Ron visiting Leslie 3 months after she hired April, which we don't know why he's visiting her at this point. We just see that, he wanted to have lunch with her. And then this is back to the timeline where we get that Ron quits and didn't tell Leslie. And Leslie's like, okay, well, I could even understand that. Like, it's a matter of time. He didn't really love government anyways, so who cares? Whatever. But then we finally get an answer to Morningstar. This is the part where I was like, oh, such a good job telling us what that is, using this timeline like we just said. And we learn how this kind of fell apart here. And I gotta say, because I don't know what happened later on, but even a part of me, if I did know what was going on, I kind of think Leslie has a right to be mad here. Like, I know we don't know everything, whatever, but he's building apartments next to the lot that she worked for her whole career. And I understand that part I'm not as mad about. Like, blocking the views, like, okay, I get it, but also I do agree with Ron in this end, and that was nice of him, I suppose, to say, people need apartments, but also, like, you built a really good lot and people want to live next to a park, and that's really nice. And like, so I could even sort of kind of understand, but the Ann house and all the other houses around it, that I was like, that's really hard, because you knew she would be upset about that, and you didn't even like tell her or have a conversation or even an email or anything. He just big fat did it anyway. And and this wasn't even, this was the other part, and I know maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but I feel like I'm being like Leslie, as Leslie would in this scenario, overanalyzing it because we want to understand what's going on. This part wasn't even during the 3 years of like unfriendship. This was like when it had slowly started to disintegrate. And maybe in Ron's head, because I was trying to empathize or like look at it from his side. Maybe in Ron's head, he didn't even like think that they were friends anymore, or he was like, we're done. I'm not going to tell her that we're done being friends. But in my head, the relationship's done. So let's just go ahead and move on, because I don't think she'd even want to talk to me anyways, even if I didn't do this kind of thing. Like, we're not friends anymore. So I'm cool to just do it. But I still feel like you can't negate all of the history you guys have been through and knowing that she was going to be mad about it or sad about it. You know what I mean? And so that part was really sucky.
Yeah. And I think Ron so clearly knows what Anne means to Leslie, right? Like, and she brings up all these really good points. Like, I put my wedding dress on there. This is where Andy and April met. Just
the
all these monumental things.
The first ever smoky eye
look. I mean, there's so many things that happened at Anne's house. Like, when we first met Freddie Spaghetti, it was in the pit right next to, like, there's just so much that happened around Anne's house that for us as viewers too, it's emotional.
Yeah.
That her house is going to be taken down. But I agree with you. I think there's just something in Ron where, in his head, when he came to talk to Leslie, that was him trying.
Yeah.
And it fell through. And so he's like, I did my part, which not accurate, but in his head. I did my part.
Totally.
And, here now, like you said, here's where we lie. We're not the friends we used to be. And so I can just do my job and she'll find out when she finds out.
Right. Yeah, totally. So I can see what each person is thinking in the moment. But to me, I was like, even a professional courtesy, like even if you're not friends, I don't know. That's really tricky. But yeah, maybe he was like, well, we're not even professionally acquainted anymore because I don't work there. So, who cares? But yeah, and you're right. I feel like Anne's house was definitely, the second set. Our first set is City Hall, and our second set for the longest time in the show was Anne's house because that's where everything happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, like parties happened there and all the things she mentioned before. So yeah, it was really sucky. But yeah, I'm glad that we at least learned what Morningstar is so that we can be on board.
Well, and they did a great job naming it because there's no way any of us were going to guess what Morningstar was.
Right, totally. Oh my gosh. Side note, I meant to say this earlier, but I just never looked it up. I was like, we haven't really gotten on to the topic, so whatever. But Morningstar is a brand of like veggie burgers and veggie like products.
Yeah.
And every time I hear that, I think of the turkey veggie bacon, and it's not veggie, or it's not turkey, but they just call it turkey bacon, whatever. And it's like the veggie version. I think about that all the time because that was like one of the biggest things. Brooklyn was, and me, I guess, were vegetarians like a long time ago, and that still, I would still eat that if now. But I just think about it all the time. It's so funny.
Yeah. I think you had them in our freezer at some point, like the burger patties.
Probably.
Because I recognize that brand exactly. That's what lived in my head when they said Morningstar too.
Yes.
But
it's Morningstar Farms.
So funny. Morningstar Farms.
But
I wonder if that's where they got it from.
I don't know. It's so funny. But I mean, it can serve both purposes, I feel, because she's right when Leslie does the, oh dear, I live at Morningstar and blah, blah, blah. It does kind of sound like that in a way.
Yeah.
So it could work for both, but I can't get past it personally because I use that brand myself, but it's just so funny.
Yeah. I love it. When she says it in that accent, it makes me think of that's the name of a racehorse.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, totally. That could work too. Yep.
Yeah.
Also, in one of my notes, I had that the mock-up of Morningstar, like the little tripod thing, one sheet in Ron's office is a nod to previous episodes with logos for Norton's Building Company, which is the company that Mark goes to work for after season 2. And
yeah, okay.
I remember, and I think Reston St. James also used them too, the one that built the Pawnee Commons. I do think that we did a breakdown on Norton's. I didn't go back in my notes because it was like too much, but I'm pretty positive. I have like a visceral memory of seeing Norton's construction on a truck that Mark maybe has, or maybe it was when they I think they used that company to like take the pit out or whatever, and on the side of the tractors, or take the dirt out of the pit or fill the pit is what I mean to say. Jeez, can't speak. But yeah, it had Norton's on the tractors, and I was like, oh my god, that's so funny. And I think there was I think that's why I remember it, because I do feel like there's an actual company called Norton's, but it wasn't based in any reality or anything. They just called it that. But I think that was a funny callback, because we've been talking about in this season that they're going to bring back stuff from season 1, 2, and on. So that's great that they had this other callback.
Yeah. Very cool. Bringing it full circle.
Yes, definitely. Which, by the way, I guess they're just the contractor, because I thought that Ron's office would have done all of that. But maybe they're like partnering. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, good question.
They do that.
Sometimes they do joint ventures. Like companies will join together because the scope is just past what they're used to, or one's better than the other.
Totally. Oh, yeah. And then she even brings up, not only did he tear down Anne's house, but he also spent the next couple of years. That was the other thing too, where I was like a little hurt, where he he fought all the park stuff that they had worked on together, like zoning permits and ordinances and all these things that like she passed in her time as city council. And so it's just like, and to me, I know it's dramatic to Ron and maybe to other people, but when she says the final twist of the knife, I was like, yeah, that seems accurate. I mean, it just, especially with, and when she says like basically spitting on everything we did at parks. And yeah, that's like a really, I would be mad too.
It feels
and
personal,
sad.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not.
That's what sucks about it.
Right. Because this whole, I mean, I struggle with the phrase like it's not personal, it's just business regardless. But in this instance, for sure, it's very much both. It's very much personal, I think, because I don't think he would have done all of this stuff had it not been for his fight. He might have eventually gotten around to building an apartment building. That makes sense for his building company. But I do think he would have at least talked to Leslie about it or figured out a way to not be as shitty, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. If they were still friends, it would have looked very different in my opinion.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been all roses. I'm not saying that. They would have fought for sure.
Oh yeah.
But they would have done
But they
their
fought
Ron
when
and
their
Leslie
friendship was
fighting.
at the best.
Yeah, 100%. So anyhow, Ron says that's not the whole story, but the timer is up. And that back to your point of like, okay, now we have nothing to respond to, or he can't respond to anything in that 3 minutes. But that was really important of a 3-minute moment for him to listen to, so that it could spark this idea that it's not the whole story. And he could get into that. But it turns out that he was whittling a key, and he goes into his old office and locks himself in. Oh my God. And this part too, this was the part where I was like, she spilled the beans and like, you know, tried to get through it. And Ron just locks himself in a room like you're literally being a toddler.
Well, yeah, and you're making such great progress. Like, why are you all of a sudden like you're gonna go hide? Like, she's being honest and vulnerable with you. She's put it out on the table, and then you're gonna leave her on this cliffhanger that's not the full story, and then go lock yourself in an office. It's just, very, very childlike, like you said from earlier. Yeah,
and I wonder. Well, it's funny too because I was thinking, like Leslie is used to dealing with her kids now who are toddlers, and so a part of me noticed a mom like side come out to her and be like, okay, progress. He closed the door, but he, you know, we talked about it.
Yeah, not getting overly upset about it, just being like, all right, this is how he's going to process his emotions.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I remember very specifically a moment like that happened with my mom where like so maybe he's not being a toddler, maybe he's being like a teenager, because I did this in high school where like a lot of times I would just shut down if she was mad at me, but I like yelled back one time and she was like, okay, I'm glad you talked about it. And I was like, and at the moment I was like, ugh. But now I'm looking back, I'm like, that's brilliant. What a great mom thing to say at that point in time.
She encouraged you to voice your...
Yeah, even if it's not easy, or even if you're not really like making a lot of sense, you yelled or whatever, like you're saying something and not just shutting down. That's helpful.
That's a great mom moment.
Yeah, it really is.
Awesome.
And I remember it. But so I kind of noticed that with Leslie too, about like, you know, she's like tapping into her mom's side.
Yeah. Well, and I think the fact that maybe it's even the fact of him saying that's not the full story and not just being silent, right? Like it's almost like he wants to talk about it maybe because he's giving her this little crumb to like latch onto. Like, oh my gosh, I'm missing something. We've got to keep talking about this.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, when you think about it, I do think that Leslie is Ron's probably closest vulnerable friend. Like, I think he talks about having that one guy that he said he was best friends with or close with that they never said a word to each other.
We still never talk.
Yeah, we still never talk sometimes. Yes. Yeah. And so this relationship, I think, is pulling him in a way that we've never seen before. And this is the first big fight that they've had like this. They've had big fights, but like this is like they've never fallen out before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do kind of see again, like we said, it's not accurate or it's not good, but I can see from his side that this is the first time he's ever had to deal with a situation like this, to actually openly talk about what is going wrong or what's hurting you. And because and I've said this before and I'll say it till the cows come home, I think friendships and like friend relationships are harder sometimes than romantical relationships, because or like if you're, it's just there's so much more effort I think you have to put into it, because you're not tied to them, you know what I mean? Like you can walk away at any second, and but to keep coming back, to keep putting in that effort, to keep being vulnerable and like understanding where each other's coming from, that's harder to me.
Yeah, you don't live with them. You don't get to see them every day.
Yeah,
it takes
that's
extra
true.
effort to think, I want to reach out to this person. Not I want to reach out to this person. I'm going to make time to reach out to this person, because you have an obligation, especially once you have a family, you have an obligation to your spouse, right? That you're there all the time to support each other through everything. That obligation in friendship is something that's a choice every day.
Yeah.
Like it is too in marriage, but like it's just easy. It's more accessible.
Yeah, totally.
So,
and I think it's, I don't know, once you have a family, I mean, maybe some people don't feel this way, but I think that it's easier to walk away from a friendship, like logistically, if that makes sense. Like when you have a family or a marriage or whatever, there's like so much like hoops you have to jump through. And so it's like you really think a little bit more about it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, and
everyone
if there's
thinks that way,
conflict,
but
and if there's conflict because of that, right? The effort you put in to keep the marriage together, to keep the family together, right? So that you're staying away from those hoops, and so that you're taking care of the family, like you said, and it's an easier string to pull when it's a friendship.
Yeah, I agree. And that's not to say that you shouldn't get divorced if you need to get divorced, okay?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I can speak on that. Okay.
We're both strong proponents of doing what you got to do for your own health and safety.
But so as yes, absolutely. And your kids. But as so in this moment especially is kind of when I'm like, okay, I think Ron is like, this is the most he's ever struggled with a friendship, because he doesn't have anyone besides Diane, who is a different type of relationship, that he has to really own up to, speak to, because it's easy, like I said, that comfort zone, it's easy for him to just be like, I don't want to talk about it, the end. It's harder to be vulnerable, and so that's what he's sticking to, and that's where his hurt is so much stronger, I think, because he didn't have that conflict as much with her, and they are BFFs or were BFFs. But anyhow, I still think he's being a big fat baby, but I can understand a little bit of like his choices and his thought process here.
Yeah. And I think you look at the other person he's probably closest to in this entire group is April, and she's not going to create conflict because she doesn't want to go through conflict either.
Yeah.
So,
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah. I did time this conversation. It went from about 5 minutes and 26 seconds into the episode to about 8 minutes and 16 seconds. So pretty close to actually 3 minutes. Oh, wow. And I was thinking about it before I did the timing, like, should I be lenient with the cut to the flashback, or no, because it's them talking about the situation. It was pretty close to 3 minutes, so it's pretty cool.
Nice. That is cool. Yeah, I love that. The accuracy. Okay, so let's see. We're moving on. 11:55 p.m. Leslie is going through all the reasons why he might hate her. Which, side note, the internet found that when the "We Didn't Start the Fire" song was going on, the office door is open, but in the next scene, it's closed. Bless you.
Thank you.
And Ron unlocks it with his wooden key, but I don't know if that's true. I actually did not scan back to find out. I'll have to look at it again.
Yeah.
But anyhow, just wanted to point that out for those people that want to go look at that. Okay. Anyway, the Whole Foods comment is so funny. Ron thinks it's called Complete Food. Oh my gosh. I love it.
I love it so much. Spoken like somebody who does not shop there.
100%. Side note, I don't know that I would shut the place down for having the roach spray near the produce, but I definitely would not be happy about it.
I wouldn't be buying my produce there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Oh my gosh, this really. Speaking of my mom, that's so funny. I wrote also that I sometimes when I wipe the counter with Clorox, I'll like just leave it out on the counter, like because I'm still doing stuff. And she always notes like, why is this Clorox out? Because it's like our counter also has food on it. And I'm like, great point. Honestly, great point.
Yeah.
It just made me. And also the cats being out and stuff like that. So anyhow, yeah, I don't know. I could definitely see Leslie shutting that place down though for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like the dollar store, how everything's just kind of crowded in there.
Yeah. No rhyme or reason. Yeah.
It's called food and stuff. Okay. They sell food and stuff, or end stuff if you're spelling it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love the callback to food and stuff too.
Me too.
In the final season. Great.
Yes. So now he comes out and brings his partially diffused Claymore mine because he's still trying to get out. Which I thought was kind of funny. Like he gives up on locking himself in the room pretty quickly. Like coming back out, he comes out of the room pretty quickly because he finds this other ways to try to get out. But I love that this is a callback too, because we always wondered why this was on his desk. And to be honest with you, I totally forgot about this part. I remembered it when he brings it out. But while we were analyzing like the last couple seasons, when we were like, why does he just have an active landmine or partially active landmine or whatever the fuck? Yeah, I totally forgot about this because it's not a landmine. It's balloons when he goes to blow it up for his 5th anniversary of Parks, and it's still the shell, so it's still it's not a complete lack of history. Okay, like when he says like, so you mean to tell me that I've had a toy on my desk? It's not real. I mean, it is a little bit of a toy, but it still has the outside of it. I don't think it's completely a waste, Ron. You know?
No, and it seems like it mechanically functions the same way. It's just not explosives inside.
Right. You've been doing an explosive job. I love that. Oh my gosh, that was funny.
It also really made me think of Ron's timeline. Like if she had started working there and he hit his 5-year anniversary when she worked there, what was he doing before?
I don't know. Great question.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1:57 a.m. We're getting into the early morning hours. Leslie is still trying to figure out why Ron is mad at her by going through all the old projects. She's got papers all over the conference table, and it's just chaos. And then she basically has like an investigation murder board going on, and she thinks it's a code that she is going to crack.
Yeah.
And it does. Whoever did that, props department, whoever did that board, fantastic job. There's so much detail and craziness going on there.
Yeah, it's so good. And I think this is another example of Leslie going all in, like full 100 to save this friendship. Like that's what she spent her time doing out there. And what has he been doing?
Yes, totally. Or at least like I feel like it's half and half. It's like half to save the friendship and it's half to like just figure out why, like what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's killing her to not know where it went wrong, like what happened exactly. And if he's not going to talk to me, I'm going to have to try to figure it out myself, like I always do, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think she prides herself on being such a good friend. Mm-hmm. Probably really eating her up inside of like, why do I not know where I messed up?
I know, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but that is the part that kind of made me sad where, you know, she wasn't a good friend in some ways.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyhow, so, okay. Leslie finds her job application. She got it by using the Freedom of Information Act request, which is a real thing. I did a tiny bit of a breakdown on what that is. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory in the act name itself. But yeah, you can request any information. You're free to request that. This act was originally championed by the Democratic Congressman John Moss from California between 54 and 55, after a series of proposals during the Cold War led to a steep rise in government secrecy under President Harry Truman. So everyone was really mad about the government withholding information rather than disclosing it. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of government tension and all that kind of stuff. And so Moss found support, this guy that championed it, Moss, found support from editors, journalists, newspapers, but he couldn't find Republican co-sponsors until way later, which that tracks. During the Kennedy and Johnson administrations, he received support from a young representative named Donald Rumsfeld. And then President Johnson who is a fellow Democrat, which is I think is kind of interesting. He did not support it. President Johnson was a Democrat, but he did not really want this Freedom of Information Act to happen, and he had a lot of concerns about it. But he ended up signing it in 1966. And what I found as a fun fact is that he usually did all these signings publicly on July 4th, but he did not do it publicly. He did it kind of behind closed doors, and he did it though, and I wonder if that's just because of his opposition. He didn't want to do it publicly, but anyway, it wasn't until 1974 that the Watergate scandal happened, and the Nixon administration, all this stuff happened, that Congress finally amended this act to be the bill that it is today. So like it was happening, and it was signed into law in 1966, and then after all these scandals and not releasing information and stuff, they made it what it is today. And they do have 9 exemptions. I did not go through all 9, but the biggest ones are national security and law enforcement. So if there's anything that is going to leak for national security or things like that, that's classified, that cannot be requested. But yeah, you can absolutely request your old applications. And then I looked up like where you can request it from. And I did see, funnily enough, I thought this was a funny little moment, that there are some requests that require a notary stating that you are in fact who you say you are. You have to prove that it's not just some rando requesting, that it is in fact you. And so it's like, oh, Terry could be an asset in this too. Maybe she got Terry to notarize her request.
I would not be surprised.
This is so funny. But at the same time, I don't know if that timeline works out, because Terry, I think, had said that he just got that like a couple years ago, and I'm assuming that she's had that forever. So I'm sure she got it notarized
since she started.
somewhere. Yeah, really. I think she's just been holding on to it.
Yeah. Where did she have it hidden?
I know. I don't know, man. She's just in her desk. It's not like Ron would ever go in there.
So true, but it's not her desk anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Where did
Maybe
she get all
just
these
left
documents?
it behind. Yeah,
that's true. Great call. Good call. I don't know. Yeah. I'll post in the show notes like where you can request this from, or like where all the information is if you are interested. Like you can request federal, state, local information if that's something that you are interested in. And that is, you'll notice too, the more I was reading about it, the more my memory was kind of jogged. You'll notice on some job applications it'll say that like, are you okay if we like keep this record or whatever. I can't remember. It's like a box you have to check off. And anyhow, so yeah, Freedom of Information Act. Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay. So Ron makes a comment that the application was not lengthy because it's not difficult to describe a human, unlike woodworking, like a dovetail technique, which, by the way, I thought that was really... What's that?
Or a boat. He
or a boat.
Some sort of boat.
Yes, which is funny because to Ron, that's, easy and just off the cuff. That's what he says. That's what he thinks. But to everyone else, we're like, what even are those things? Those things are difficult. What are you talking about? But I would argue that they all have a decent level of intricacy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Both people and
Agree.
Woodworking. But I understand what he's saying. Woodworking, it's like there's a formula to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like we've learned with all these architects, you can create new formulas and be famous for them. So just saying.
So true.
I did look up what a dovetail technique was, because I was just really interested, and this isn't as long of a breakdown, but it's a highly durable woodworking joint used to connect two pieces of wood at a 90-degree angle. And apparently it gets its name from the interlocking wedge, which is very distinctive in shape, and it resembles a bird's spread tail feathers. That's where the dovetail thing comes from. Got it. Okay. Which I looked at a picture of it, and I don't really see the feathers, to be completely honest. But what do I know? It is very used though. I looked at a picture and I was like, oh my gosh, that's in a lot of like drawers and cabinetry and stuff like that. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I did not realize that it was just one breakdown after another. Because then he mentions Leon Trotsky, and I was like, you could be. I think he compares her to Leon Trotsky, and I was like, who is that? And again, this isn't super long, and you guys, there are people who I think study him. So if you are one of those people, just skip ahead 30 seconds because I did not go that far deep into it. But he led the 1917 Russian Revolution, but he was also a ruthless military leader who suppressed dissent with violence. So lots of schools of thought on like whether he was good or bad. But he was anti-Stalin. So that's, I think, good in our books.
Yeah.
He championed a more democratic and internationalist form of socialism through his theory called permanent revolution. But he was also, a key figure in the Russian Civil War. And let's see, there was something else too. Oh, he was assassinated in 1940 by one of Stalin's agents, actually. So he was a prominent figure in Russian Soviet history, but it sounds like he was against Stalin's, authoritarianism and totalitarianism. But he was intense. Like, did you see One Battle After Another?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay, so basically, and it's not a spoiler, but like, it's like we're on the good side, but we're using violence in a way, if that makes sense. That's kind of how I feel like he was seen. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's why there's this tension politically of like, is that good or bad? Like, are we the good guys that use violence, or not? So anyway, but he was very prominent. So I don't think it was right that he was assassinated. So that sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
So anyway, that's what he's comparing Leslie to, which, I know it's like a higher form or whatever. This is terrible. But at the same time, I kind of like, I could see it. Like, she's on the good side, but she uses her force for good for the most part. But sometimes it's questionable,
Yeah, for real. I can get there. Yeah.
So anyhow, I just kind of had this note too that it's wild how these writers just like throw this shit in just like randomly as a one-liner. Like, do they? I made me question, like, do they do this research on their own to put into the episode? It's like the chicken and the egg thing. Did they already know the names of these people and just be like, oh, that'd be a fun person to put in here? Or did they like do the research for the episode? So it's just crazy because it happens all the time in this show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
it's got to be intentional to a point.
Yeah. So anyway, Ron says if they were to work together on the application, he says this, she would drive me insane and we would most likely kill each other. And then it is cute. You do see this Ron moment where he's remembering things that she didn't even remember. So like you do see this relationship that he has this closeness and depth with her, like we were talking about before, that he does not have with everyone else. And that's probably why it was more painful for him to go through this. Yeah. So he says, you forgot the last sentence and it says hire her. And that was really special, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a drawback to times in the past where they've butted heads, but they've always had respect for each other because they're willing to have the hard conversations. They're willing to yell at each other if they don't agree. Yeah. Yeah. You kind of have like an agree to disagree, but the respect is, and the trust is probably the most prominent thing. Yeah. So this is when the cleaner comes in across the way and is listening to I Feel Like a Woman, and they want him to save them. They keep, yelling at him, and he's just not getting it because he's listening to this song on full blast. And yes, like we talked about before, this cleaner is listening to the same song in Lil Sebastian, which was 2011, which is crazy. So like 4 years prior, when he interrupts the moment of silence for Lil Sebastian's little memorial moment, which that's an amazing callback. I really think that was so, especially the song and everything. Oh my God. That's so good. It's got to be, even if it's not the same actor, the intention is for it to be the same person.
Oh yeah. I would think so too. It's so funny.
They just got him, somebody for Christmas got him headphones so that they didn't have to listen to Shania Twain every time.
Exactly. Oh my God. Apparently, the internet said this would have been Mark's office that the cleaner would have been cleaning, which tracks because I remember Mark looking across the way at Amy's or at Leslie's. So that's fun. That's a cool tidbit. I wouldn't have probably even thought of that. No. So Leslie asks why Ron even hired her, which is a valid question. And I love the comment that she says he was wearing the same exact outfit because he always wears the same thing. Yep. But I will say, I don't know if you remember this, but in like season 1, he was wearing like suit jackets. They weren't like suits like Chris Traeger wore, but he had blazers on at the beginning, if you can believe it. Yeah. And then he slowly morphed into just wearing what he's wearing now.
Yeah. Yeah, they found Ron's rhythm.
Mm-hmm. So this is the point where we're seeing that Ron remembers a lot more than Leslie does at this point, and she thought that was it, but he remembers her tirade. He called her, or she called him, a heartless thug, and I love that he said, this is to your point with the respect and the trust, that he says she's stood up for what she believed in, and that was the part where he was won over, because he would rather work with someone he respects and who stands up for what they believe in, than just some weird yes man.
Yeah.
Which I think that's kind of the thesis of their relationship in a lot of ways.
So true.
But that's another funny part. Kind of it has some comedic breaking here, or comedic tension breaking, whatever the word for that is, where she says that she made brownies, or he said that she made brownies, and that is why he really hired her.
Yeah. Love it.
I love this too, where she says, "I promise I would never raise my voice at you if we were to work together." Yeah, optimistic is right. Okay.
Yeah,
She was like, boy, I was optimistic.
Yeah. Lies.
Yes. So then we've got Leslie saying, come on, we've talked about a lot. Like, we've come so far. Look at this. Like, let's just bring it home. Like, let's get to the root of it. And then again, Ron can't do it. He cannot do it, and so he pulls the fire alarm, and it's just for sprinklers because April kept pulling it, so the fire department disconnected it. That's
that
illegal.
checks.
April.
Yeah.
Not that you mind that it's illegal, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. It tracks with
so
her
they
character,
get soaked. Yeah, it does. So now they're all wet, and we get another cut to 3:37 a.m. They've changed into dry clothes. Craig is studying yoga, so his yoga outfit is the dry pair of clothes that Ron could find, which I think is really funny to have him in this, like, amazing. That's a funny comedy tool, too, to put them in wardrobe that is totally outside of their view. That was
it's
something
also
we
relaxed.
Also relaxed. That's true, too. I remember that was an improv technique too, a lot, that would make me laugh all the time when, like, a scene was going on and then someone in the back line could be like, he's wearing a cape. And it would just make me laugh because you don't, especially with improv, like, you are wearing your clothes, like, you don't have wardrobe. So to have someone throw in a visual is so fun, I think.
Yeah.
So that, and which, maybe that was a technique that some of these writers did because they all did improv too.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
I don't know how Leslie found her clothes. I don't know what clothes those are.
Yeah, good question.
There's a little Sebastian shirt underneath that hoodie, so I'm sure that was around because they had merch. But I don't know what the hoodie was, or the shirt was. Maybe it was like one of April's old ones. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, like, who else we know in the
Parks Department.
Like, in the Parks Department anymore. Yeah, to know who it would belong to.
Right. Well, whatever. Neither here nor there. They found some dry clothes. And I do like that they mentioned Craig. I don't think that we really understand or thought about who was running parks now. And so I think it's interesting that they bring him up.
Yeah.
But I am wondering, like, whose job does he have? Does he have Ron's job or Leslie's job, or both? I think Leslie's job.
Probably
and then maybe
Leslie's
once
job.
Ron left, he moved up. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because weren't his clothes in Ron's office?
I think so.
So, yeah, that would track.
So Leslie's like, look, you've tried everything. You've tried to escape. There's nowhere to run. Just talk to me. And this was so cute. This little picture of Ron and Leslie and little Sebastian. Very precious. Again, bringing back, like, little Sebastian really brought them together, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. Still from the grave, he's healing people.
Mm-hmm. So Ron finally starts talking, which, thank God there's alcohol there because that helped. And I was wondering where he got this, actually, but again, there's a lot that you had to kind of suspend reality. But there's a deleted scene here where he finds a little secret compartment in the wall of Ron's old office. He does this, like, hand gesture thing. He, like, places his arm on the wall, like, perpendicular, and then pats it or like pounds it a little bit with his arm, and then this secret compartment at the bottom of the wall opens, and it's, like, perfectly what's the word, preserved, if you will, like 2 glasses and a bottle of Lagavulin.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. And so Ron, that he definitely put that in there.
so Ron, he has all these secret compartments. He had the bacon one in the hallway that one time when Tammy came, like all the rations
Yeah.
of food. Bacon in his office too.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyhow, Leslie left, then Terry, then April is what Ron says. So, Ron's face is so sad at this going away party thing for April.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't get that at the beginning, and now we're seeing Ron's side, which they did a really good job of having Leslie state her side first, and now we're gonna have Ron say his side.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think Nick Offerman did such a fantastic job, like with his facial expression there of like, what a little puppy. He's so heartbroken. Like,
Yeah.
great work there.
I felt like there's just so much great acting from Nick Offerman
Mm-hmm.
in this entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we're so focused on him as a character here, rather than just like his side comments and all of that, and his facial expressions. They do such a great job, and you feel so sorry for him. Like,
Yeah, and I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm also wondering, like, how did nobody notice?
Yeah, that's sad too. Yeah, how did
Yeah.
nobody notice? Because again, I guess everyone was gone, but even Donna and Tom worked together with him, but I guess they were so
Mhm.
focused on their other things. But yeah, Ron got left behind, and I do think that's interesting to me because I can't really recall when we've ever seen him be sad. We've seen him have all these other emotions, anger, frustration, maybe disappointment, but not
Annoyed.
sadness. Yeah. And that is a
Yeah.
really heavy thing to feel, or depression even, I
Mhm.
think, because of growth, sure, but also just like feeling stuck a tiny bit, I think. Like, so then he says that he, really thought that April was his closest workplace proximity associate after Leslie left and after Tom and Donna left. And so he was really heartbroken. And then this part, I'm not gonna lie to you, I had tears in my eyes when I was watching it because he, like, again, that expression from Nick, when he looked up and didn't recognize anyone, it like really broke my heart for him. And
Yeah.
he was just like and especially, like, I gotta say, I don't know who staged it or whatever, if it was the director, Beth McCarthy, or if this was written this way, or maybe a little bit of both. But the staging of the camera being outside, on all of the people that were laughing and joking and the new people, and Ron being stuck in his office where he's always been for 10 plus whatever the fuck years, just trapped in there eating his sandwich like he always eats his sandwich, was so brilliant, and was really a great illustration of like the divide that happened between those people, the new people, and him.
Yeah. And that he's really alone in there.
Yes, there's no one else in
Because
there.
The crew isn't in there either.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is really relatable for so many people, because your friends, your coworkers, the world just kind of moving on without you, and you're in the same place. That can be so overwhelming and depressing. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's grief.
Yeah.
He lost a lot of things that he used to have, and grief has no bounds. I mean, it just sucks you in, and there's not really a way to like get over it apart from like processing and accepting it. And so I think he goes through his sadness first, but yeah, you're right. Like, even the crew isn't in there. He's just by himself.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So that part was really emotional for me when he's finally explaining that. And like you said, great work to Nick for just his like vocal inflections as well. I just felt like it was all really well done.
Yeah. I feel like this is the most acting we've gotten out of it. Like the more dramatic acting, right?
Dramatic,
like he's been so great at like the comedic stuff, but this is the most emotion we've seen out of him.
Yeah. Or
so-
like maybe the longest because we've seen him have bits and pieces of those dramatic acting when he says his metaphors, when he's talking Leslie down, when, all those kinds of things. But
when he reads his poem in Scotland.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of stuff. And so I think this is where, and Ron doesn't have a therapist. Okay, so this might be the first time, and maybe he's talked to Diane about it. I don't know, but this might be the first time that he's talking about this ever.
Yeah.
You know, to the person that this is about, which is hard.
Yeah. Very hard.
So that's in his grief / feelings. He made this decision to visit Leslie and asked her to lunch, and she stood him up. And this is also like this part. Okay, I did have a moment. I was like, Leslie, are you being so for real? I know you're busy, but she forgot it within the next heartbeat. It was like
very un-Leslie of her.
I know.
Very un-Leslie.
Like, it's one thing to like have a day go by and then you're like, oh shit, I didn't put that on my calendar. But you just agreed to have lunch tomorrow and you set the time. Like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then she's like on the phone saying I got to go to Washington, all these things. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. The
That
Leslie
sucks.
we know, I think, would have been like, oh, April, we have to go to Washington. I just made lunch plans with Ron. Can you call him and tell him we'll reschedule when I get back? And then her forgetting to reschedule when they get back makes more sense to me. But her forgetting in that split moment, like he's not even like the elevator doors haven't even closed.
Correct.
And she's forgotten.
Yeah.
And it's that would have worked both ways. He's been forgotten. Like it's so sad.
I know. It's really sad. And when I watch it, I always wonder if he heard her say that he was able to, that she had to go to Washington. I don't think that he did. Otherwise, I don't know if he would have shown up or something. But because it was chaotic. But maybe he did. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that I saw a little smile on his face when the elevator doors are closing. Like he's looking forward to tomorrow. So I don't think he heard, just from my perspective of watching.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, and I guess that's a good illustration of like just how overcome and overtaken by this job that she has let herself be, or not let herself. That's a bad way to put it, but you know what I mean. Like it's just snowballed, and yeah. So that part really sucks when she didn't forget or when she didn't remember just in that one split second, you know. And he did look around at the office and stuff and noticed that she was really busy, so that probably like that's to the point of like whether or not he saw her or whatever. I would say that he was just looking around, like he saw how busy she was, like she's like he says, but he probably didn't hear her. So awful. But anyway, that's not even the rest of the story. That's not like the only like ending or whatever. And also the whole sadness of Ron being at JJ's by himself and being stood up, that sucks.
I think this is one of those parts where I'm like, Ron, you should have tried again, right? Like, hey, she's busy. It sucks. It's not okay that I got stood up. It's not okay that she forgot about me, but I'm going to call her and be like, hey, you forgot about lunch. Like, but I still really want to go out to lunch with you, you know, like, but I think that the shame of what he was wanting to go to lunch for probably did not help him going back.
Yeah, totally. I know that's hard too, because I don't know, as I get older, sometimes if people like were to show up or not show up or cancel on me, a part of me is like, okay, well, is it even worth it to keep going? Because I've tried multiple times. And to him, that was his multiple times, even though it wasn't. But it was like you said, kind of like that was him trying kind of thing. So but I hear what you're saying. I think I would have at least texted or something and been like, are you coming? ? Yeah. And then I would have needed some time. I would not have immediately gone to lunch the next day, probably. I would have probably been like, I can't do tomorrow, but I can do in like a month if I still feel like it. But no, you're right. Yeah, I feel like the idea that she just forgot is also a whole thing in Ron's head where that's the catalyst for him being like, well, she doesn't care. It's fine. She doesn't even care to like message me that she's not going to be here. So I guess it's just like, oh, well, I'll move on now. I still don't think that he should have, bulldozed Anne's house, but that's where his mindset was for the part of the friendship. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So anyway, Leslie's like, so that wasn't it. And we learned that it was a huge deal that Ron was actually, and she figures it out, that he was going to ask her for something. And he was going to ask for a job in the federal government terrible for him to have to do that, but he missed his friends and he wanted to be in a familiar environment. He wanted to be with people that he knew. And I love that Leslie is really sorry. She does apologize. She doesn't say like, oh, well, why didn't you reach back out? Why didn't you like message me? She just says, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And her face is heartbroken too. Like you can tell that she really feels awful about this. She almost can't like fathom that she even did that. Like, I can't believe I didn't see it. I can't believe I didn't even think about it. Like, which I know is not the best like remedy, you know, it's on the other person to like forgive or whatever. But like, I love that she didn't say like, why didn't you try again? Hello.
Yeah.
You know, even though he could have and he should have probably, but she puts the onus on herself.
Yeah.
And Ron is right. I mean, I do think it would have worked out that way where, you know, when he says like it was the period on a long sentence or whatever his metaphor is. But because he didn't like what he was doing, he even, and we've said this before where we talk about this all the time, where we quit people, not jobs, or we stay for people, not for the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that tie to that office is no longer there. So it's like, what am I even here for? When you lose that, purpose there, it's like, oh, you're just not happy.
I didn't like this job anyway. I just loved Leslie, April, Donna, Tom, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And Leslie did everything for him. So it's like, it's not, he wasn't even really
His life was easy.
there for the job. He was kind of just there for the people, literally. So
yeah.
And he does say he regrets bulldozing Anne's house, or the nurse's house, as he calls her. But he doesn't ever actually say the words "I'm sorry," which kind of like bothered me a little bit. But he does say he regretted it, which I think is it's not enough for me personally, but it is something.
It's a Ron step.
Yeah,
in the right direction.
Right. And then he has this little moment where he says he looked around and nothing was the same. And she says, well, there's a way to fix that. And that's when it's 5:44 a.m. And they do end up playing Buddy by Willie Nelson, which I love. And they have this montage of them cleaning, putting things back the way it used to be. And of course, they're doing all of this drunk because they've been drinking at this point. It's so cute and emotional, doing these yoga stretches. The waffle painting comes back, the mice wheel thing from the, quote, Murinal episode.
Yeah. I can't believe all this stuff was kept. And
I
a coffee
know.
maker and...
Totally.
Like...
I mean, oh my gosh, yeah, the storage closets that these offices have is so crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I do want to...
I would kill for that storage, that you could keep all of that, those paintings.
I do briefly want to play a deleted scene, actually, when Ron is in his office by himself. Craig comes in, and I'm really glad they cut it. We'll talk about it after, but I'll just go ahead and play it.
One day I looked up, just didn't recognize anyone. Except Craig. Craig was still there.
Excuse me. These are maintenance request forms. You understand they're supposed to go in cabinet 4. Why would you do that? You have them, you say, oh, it's a maintenance request form. Cabinet 4, cabinet 4, cabinet 4.
Oh my gosh, Craig.
He is so much.
So much. And I know I am sad that he's not in it as much in this season. He will come back a little bit later. But at the same time, I have to say I'm glad they cut it, because that's at that point when I was getting really emotional. And if they had had Craig come in, it would have broken all of that emotion, tension, love for Ron. It really would not have been the same, I think.
I agree.
We did not need that comedic relief.
No,
at
not
that
right
point.
there.
No.
Yeah.
Especially because that's the part when I was talking about the camera angles of like everybody being out there and he's inside his office by himself, no crew, no nothing. And then Craig comes in and you're like, oh, that broke that. So I think we could talk about Craig maybe in another way, or like they did with the yoga pants. I think that was enough. This is about Ron and Leslie, and it should have stayed that way. So I am sorry for Billy Eichner to have that cut, of course, but as I am for every actor. But when you really look at the holistic view of it, it should not have been in there.
Yeah.
So.
Agreed.
Anyway, so back to our drunk reorganizing, redecorating. This is 7:59 a.m. They're fully drunk. Somehow they found a saxophone, and they're having some sort of karaoke moment. Craig comes in and gets all frustrated. So at least he's in this episode, okay?
Yes,
He says, you're
he
going to
got to
stretch
ha-
out
yeah.
the elastic. And this is much more Craig vibe.
The appropriate
episode
time.
vibe.
Yep.
Appropriate time, correct, yeah. So, and then this, the part where she says, we're sorry, and it's the fart and the saxophone thing. It's just perfect. Like, it looks like they've
It's so
planned it,
good.
or they've practiced it, or they've done it a couple times, like when he found the sax. Like,
It's so good. And everybody's
It's so good.
like facial expressions and reactions to how they are right now. It's like, yes, they're being crazy, but this is what they wanted. They wanted to come back to them in this space. And
Yes.
so I think to see it's not only happiness on everybody's face, but kind of like relief.
yes.
We're back here now. And we don't all, because they've all been slaves to this, especially because of the war for the land. Like they've all been slaves to this conflict between Leslie and Ron. And so I think it's relief for that piece too, that they're like, okay, we're the same gang again. We're, in a different space, but
Yeah. And I said this in the last episode where I feel like the Parks crew was like the kids and mommy and daddy were fighting and we don't know how to handle it and we're like really freaking out a little bit, but like they're all adults. So of course that metaphor does not fully comprehend, but it feels that way. And so this is like where the kids are like, oh, they made up, thank God. And we see them and we witness them making up, you know what I mean? Which is really important. So yeah, that's nice.
agree.
So anyhow, okay. So April says she moved all the meetings because Leslie is simultaneously drunk and hungover. Good call, but it's
That's
Ron that's come
possible.
to see her. Yeah, it is. But it's Ron that's come to see her, not anyone else. And Leslie hugs Ron, and to see them hugging is so beautiful and tender. It's so precious. She has 3 years of hugs to force upon his will.
Yes, I love it.
So Ron has a gift. Well, he says object, but and peace offering, but it is a gift, okay? And it's the frame that's the gift, not the actual picture. And the wood from the frame is from Anne's house. And yeah, see, that's what proves to me that he knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew it would be bad, and that if they ever made up, that's what he would give her or whatever. But that's where I'm like wondering, how did you think that was going to happen? How did you think you were going to just make up? Like you weren't going to do it. Were you just like waiting for her to do it as per usual? Like, I know this is supposed to be a really happy, nice moment and whatever, but I just couldn't help but think, how were you going to ever give that to her? You were not going to be in charge of that. You would have left it on her door and not had a conversation and hoped that would be enough. But like, is that it?
Yeah.
So
it's a good symbol for that he hadn't given up.
Yeah.
And that he had hope. Now, does that
That's
mean
true.
he was gonna fight for it the way that Leslie was gonna fight for it? No. But I think it is nice to see that he hadn't fully written her off. There was hope that they would get back to a place that he could give this to her.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like
That's a good point.
she was gonna have to push for it.
Yeah, that's a much nicer point. I guess both can be true at the same time, but
Yes, they can.
And you're right that it's hope, but it's also like he didn't want it to be fully over. I guess that's what helps me. Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it. And Leslie says, "You big fat giant sap." I like that part too.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm sure, I do think he was hiding it well, but I don't think he was just doing this and forgetting about it. I think, like, which this proves, like you said. And even though I do have my, like, angers with Ron, I don't, like, this whole episode proved that he was thinking, it was eating him up inside, and he was thinking about it. He was not doing this callously. I mean, yes, callously, but, like, he wasn't doing it and then and not even knowing what he was doing. Like, he was fully aware / heartbroken at the same time, you know? Like a lot of villains are, but he had a villain moment. Okay, he did.
Yes, he did. That he did.
But some villains don't even know what they're doing is bad, and that's just like, that's psychotic. I don't think Ron is quite to the psychosis yet.
No.
But anyway, so yeah, I was going to say it is cute that they keep Anne in the story. I had that in the notes as well, that they, mention her name a couple times. Now she has the rings that Ron made from the sconces and this frame for from Anne's house. So that's kind of nice. She has 2 mementos from her home.
Yeah.
So then they go to JJ's to eat too much breakfast food, and I love this quote. Why do people eat anything other than breakfast food? People are idiots, Ron. And we have heard this before. This was a quote that was in Summer Catalog, which was the end of season 2, which is so crazy that is how far we've come.
Yeah.
Wild.
Great consistency that they love their breakfast food and that they get to connect together over breakfast food.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally go to JJ's. Speaking of food, there is a moment where, if anyone was wondering about what they ate during that time, Ron was very, very hungry. And there was a deleted scene that I just thought I'd play for you real fast.
Yeah.
And it brings up Sweetums again, which is hilarious.
I'm starving. I missed second dinner and first snack. And second snack and third dinner.
I looked everywhere, and this is the only thing I could find.
What is it? Is it 5 steaks?
It's a Sweetums chocolate Slammo bar. There's no actual food in these. They couldn't even legally use the word chocolate. The expiration date is don't worry about it. You want half?
I would prefer to eat the entire thing.
Oh, would you?
Why should we both remain mostly hungry instead of one of us being full?
And then they go on like a whole tangent fight again about like who's going to split it? Are they going to split it? Are you just going to take it? Which again, it was a whole Ron thing where I was like, oh my God, Ron, you can't even split a freaking candy bar? You're crazy.
Come on, bro.
I know. But I do love that commentary on the expiration date is don't worry about it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That sounds very Sweetumsy.
Yes, and that they legally couldn't use the word chocolate, so they had to say like chocolate or lout or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, so funny. But yeah,
Yikes.
so if anyone was wondering how many snacks and dinners Ron eats, there's that. And
Yeah.
if
It's like
they
a
were
call out
hungry.
to the Hobbits in Lord of the Rings.
Yes, that's what I was thinking
Love
too.
it.
Very Lord of the Rings vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, so fun. Well, that's all I've got for this one. Do you have any other notes?
No, I'm just so glad that we have Ron and Leslie back together and that we can conquer the rest of our final season with the whole gang back in their similar vibe rather than beefing with each other. So,
Yeah. I like that it took 4 episodes for us to get here. I like that it wasn't an immediate thing because especially if they wrote in that it had been 3 years that they haven't really spoken or that they were so mad at each other, I do feel like that's really good that it didn't happen immediately.
yeah.
And
agreed.
I'm really glad they gave it their due diligence. I would love to have been in the writer's room at this point if people to come to the idea that it needs to be one full episode of just them. Like, I wonder if there was discussion of like, should we have someone else come in? Should we have a B story? There was no B story. There was nothing. It was just them. And I think that was absolutely necessary for the time we were given. If we had an hour, maybe, but with that just 25 minutes, 22 minutes with the ads, it's like you've got to make that time specific to them, I think.
Yeah. And I think relationships have been such a key focus of this show that it was really important to give this relationship the time it deserved.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And I think that's all I've got for you.
Perfect. We'll see you next time.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
There's a Parkinson Pals and there's also therapy too.